I want to start this straight. No build up, no detours. In my last podcast, I said something that came out wrong. I said that Diddy might have a case against 50 Cent because footage like that shouldn't have gotten out. That was my wording in the moment, and I want to clarify what I actually meant. Not walk it back, not soften it, just put it where it belongs. What I was reacting to wasn't 50 Cent as a person or as an artist or even as a producer. It was the shock of seeing how far the situation had already gone by the time it hit the public. The footage, the framing, the speed. When something like that surfaces, the first instinct is to ask, how did this even leave the building? That's where my head was at. After actually sitting with it, reading timelines, looking at how these things really unfold, the picture is a lot clearer. That footage didn't surface because one guy decided to randomly expose another guy. That's not how media works at that level. By the time something like that shows up in a polished, distributed format, it's already passed through multiple hands, multiple decisions, multiple risk calculations. What really happened here is momentum took over. The moment legal filings became public, the moment sworn statements entered the record, the situation moved out of the private zone. Once that door opens, it doesn't close. Media doesn't need permission anymore. Journalists don't need favors. Platforms don't need speculation. Everything shifts from rumor to material. So when I said there might be a case, what I was really reacting to was the idea that someone inside the circle made a choice long before any documentary, long before any streaming deal, long before any public commentary. That's the real fracture point. Footage like that doesn't leak from the outside. It moves when trust collapses internally. From that angle, 50 Cent isn't the origin. He's a participant in an environment that was already destabilized. He stepped into something that was already rolling downhill. That's not praise and it's not condemnation. It's just accurate. And that's where I want to be clear. This isn't an attack on 50 Cent. It's not a defense of Diddy either. It's not picking sides. It's recognizing how power, media, and exposure actually work once a certain line is crossed. People keep wanting to reduce this to personalities, beef, intent. That's surface level. The deeper reality is structural. Once someone reaches a certain level of influence, everything around them becomes archival. People record, people save, people wait, not because they're masterminds, but because proximity creates leverage. By the time the public sees anything, the real decisions already happened months or years earlier. Someone chose to stop protecting the image. Someone chose to release material. Someone chose not to suppress it. Those are the moves that matter. So no, this isn't about blaming 50 Cent for footage existing. And it's not about pretending media is innocent either. It's about understanding that platforms like Netflix don't initiate these moments. They formalize them. They step in when the legal risk becomes manageable and the narrative becomes survivable. If anything, what this situation exposes is how fragile power really is once it's no longer insulated by silence. Money doesn't erase memory. Influence doesn't delete files. Time doesn't bury things. It just stacks them. And that's why this escalated the way it did. Not because one person wanted revenge, not because one documentary dropped, but because the system flipped from containment to exposure. That's clarification. I'm not here to litigate guilt or innocence. I'm not here to dramatize it. I'm just saying my earlier framing came from reacting too fast to the shock of seeing private material go public. Looking at it clearly now, the reality is simpler and more unsettling. Once the seal breaks, nobody controls the flow anymore. That's it. No retraction, no apology tour, no sides, just accuracy. And honestly, if there's anything worth taking from this, it's this. What happened here isn't unique. It's a pattern. And anyone at that level would be naive to think it couldn't happen to them too.